Hey guys, it's Varvel with an updated version of how to access things from home. Um, Depending on what browser you're using at home, some people like to use Google Chrome, some people are familiar with Firefox, some people are using Microsoft Edge, which I'm not super familiar with, nor am I familiar with Safari on the Mac systems, but most of them are going to have some kind of an incognito mode. Now, I'd recommend that you open that. You go up to the three dots here. Sometimes it's a little yellow circle with an I believe in it, the letter I, and click on incognito. And I'll explain why that's important later on to help avoid some other problems. In Firefox, you go up to the three little lines up here, and it'll say new private window. So if there's some kind of private viewing, I would go with that, and I'll explain why when we start trying to access Google Suite in a little bit. So whatever browser you're using, hopefully you're getting familiar with desktops and laptops rather than spending all your time on your phone, because that's a more restrictive experience, even though it's probably something you're used to spending more time with. Get used to working on a laptop because you have a full keyboard or a desktop, and they usually work a little more smoothly than your phone. So, regardless, get into a browser, open it in private or incognito mode, whatever your browser calls it, and then type in Norco High School or Corona Norco Unified School District, and it should get you to a page that has this symbol on it. Whenever you see this symbol, that's going to click on that. It's going to get you to this page from home. And at this time, you're going to want to sign in using your 6-digit ID and then this very long suffix at CNUSD, of course, our district initials, dot K12, the grades that we serve, dot CA, the state we're in, dot US, our country. And then whatever password that you have set. Now, hopefully you set at the beginning of the year. You have to change it every 6 months. And if for some reason it's not letting you in because your password needs to be renewed, you can either talk to me in class, and if we have a laptop, so we can change it right then and there, or most likely it's easier to go to the library and ask Miss Walker, Miss Lopez, or one of the librarian clerks to help you reset it. The criteria is you have to have at least, I think, 6 to 10, I think 10 digits, I believe, or 10 characters, I should say. You have to have one capital letter and at least one number. And I think there's other restrictions like your name or something. They won't let you use it. They'll be able to explain better in the library. At any rate, make sure you have a current password, and if you're having difficulty, it may just be that you need to get to the library and reset that. All right, so once you've logged in, you should get to this page, and you'll see that you have Student Connect. You want to make sure that you're checking your grades regularly. Every student has their own school email account. I believe it's what you just saw on the previous screen, your 6-digit ID with that super long suffix. Those teachers who are using Canvas, like myself or any other teacher, whatever subject matter they might be using, well, here's your portal to Canvas. Now, what you're going to want to choose, what I would suggest you do rather, right away, is to log into Google Suite, because when you try to get into Canvas and use the links to get to Google Classroom, it may pose some problems. So I would just go ahead and log into Google Suite right away. And so if you go to 9th through 12th, it's going to bring down a pull down menu over here. I believe it's going to be pink. The next slide is going to be from my teacher page, so it's going to look a little different. But if you click on 9th through 12th, it'll get you a different pull down screen here. As I mentioned, this is a teacher page, but you'll have a similar pull down menu, and you want to find Google Suite. Once you click on that, you'll get this screen, and this is logging you into Google Classroom. Now, you want to make sure it says My CNUSD. Some people are trying to get into Google Classroom, and it'll have the Google logo here. And so it'll try to make you sign in with the suffix at gmail.com. You don't want that. You won't be able to get into the Google Classroom materials for CNUSD unless you see this. Now, at this point, your username just needs to be your 6-digit ID. You don't need that super long suffix at CNUSD, blah, blah, blah. You just need your 6-digit ID and the aforementioned password, and that will get you into Google Class. You may have to click, yes, this is my account, and allow or some other permissions, but hopefully you can follow the directions once you get there. Once you have that down, you can get into, well, this is the problem. This is the problem that some people will come up with. If you're having difficulty, it may be that by default it's looking at a Gmail account. So if you go into Google and click on the little icon up here, it might just be an initial or something. You can see that there's several people that are logged in. It may be family members or a friend that was there. And so if you try to click on the links in Canvas to get to Google Classroom, this may be where you're running into trouble, okay? Because it has to see a CNUSD account, okay? So here's a personal account for teaching that I don't use very often. But if you're already signed in with a Gmail account, it's not going to let you have access to the school account. So you can just sign these out. So if I said click on these, I could get rid of good old Casey Diaz here, and Bob blah blah. I can get rid of him and get rid of that until it's nothing but CNUSD. Then you should be able to get to the Google Suite. I know it's super confusing, but trust me, if you just go up here and close all these out, so the only one that's available is the CNUSD stuff, that'll save you a lot of headaches. But again, that's why I'd encourage you to sign in with incognito or private mode, because once you've signed into the CNUSD stuff, you won't see any of these other ones because they won't have signed into that private session. All right, is that clear as mud? All right, so once you get in, you'll once again have all these options to go to Canvas. So if we go into Canvas and eventually find a classroom, or an assignment rather, that gives you a link. Once you click on these links, and it'll take you to the Google Classroom, you won't have any troubles so long as you don't have all this mess here. So that's why we want to try to just sign into Google Suite from the CNUSD portal, and hopefully things will run smoothly. I know I'm talking very fast and it's a long, boring video, but if you have some questions, talk to me at school. But hopefully this is enough to get it figured out. And just like your phone, when you're trying to explain something to your parents, it's frustrating and you lose your patience. And I'm sure you lose your patience when I'm trying to explain things to you, but just play with it until you get it figured out, and then it'll become second nature, and hopefully it's a tool that you can use throughout your high school career with very little trouble. All right, bye for now.